It's the 2018 draft, a draft class full of so many talented young players from DeAndre Ayton to Trae Young and Luka Doncic, but one's missing. One player who a year prior was predicted to go first overall. And as the draft continues on and Adam Silver begins to call out different players, this player continues to wait. This player's name was Micheal Porter Jr. As alluded to before, this wasn't meant to happen. Micheal Porter Jr. was meant to be at least a top 5 pick, if not the first. But why hasn't he been picked yet? Well, let's rewind back to when Micheal Porter Jr. was a senior in high school. In his senior season, he would put up an astonishing 36.2 points per game and 13.6 rebounds. Micheal at this time was a much-watched prospect in the country and was drawing comparisons between himself and another tall, skillful small forward that was a certified bucket getter in the NBA, one Mr. Kevin Durant. Everything was looking great. He chose to attend the University of Missouri and was preparing to have another dominant season, but it would all fall down after this. In Micheal Porter Jr.'s first college game, his college career would be seemingly over before halftime. He would suffer a back injury. A back injury that was so severe it would rule him out for an entire season. Now Micheal was on the sideline whilst his peers were building up their resumes in college or overseas, and he could do nothing about it. And now we're back at the 2018 NBA draft, and with the 14th overall pick, the Denver Nuggets select
Micheal Porter Jr. from the University of Missouri.
Micheal was still a massive risk to pick up in the lottery. Passed up on the opportunity due to the luring threat of another back injury, even though he had the potential to be a franchise player and a superstar in the NBA. And again, this back injury would affect Micheal's rookie season, as he would miss the entirety with the same back injury. At the time, MPJ's career looked like it was on the trajectory of a what-if sort of player. Like a Brendan Roy sort of player, someone you always ask the question, what if they weren't injured? How dominant would they be? Would they be one of those superstars? But before the NBA shut down, he was given some reps in some games, and he performed pretty respectably with 9.3 points per game and 2.7 rebounds on a very efficient 50% from the field. But he was only getting around 16 minutes a game, unlike other rookies that were drafted early in the draft that were meant to be franchise cornerstones straight away. Micheal Porter Jr. was drafted to a team in the season he didn't play, finished second in the Western Conference. And Mike Malone wasn't here to cater for Micheal Porter Jr. Micheal was going to have to work for his place on the team. And in the NBA shutdown, Micheal was working hard to improve his game, to prove to the world that he was indeed up next. But then the Miami Heat game happened, where Micheal struggled, only shooting 4 from 11 from the field and made many costly errors. Also watching his team get blown out. But again, this did not deter him, it just fueled him even more. As in his next game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Micheal would put up an astonishing 37 points and 12 rebounds. And he looked like a man on a mission to prove that he was no longer damaged goods and he was the future of the Nuggets franchise. Since then, Micheal has averaged 23.8 points per game, 9.2 rebounds, and 1.5 assists over the 6 games inside the NBA bubble. And I think this is just a glimpse of the potential Micheal Porter Jr. has and how much of an absolute dominant offensive player he has the potential to become. While I don't think Denver are a contender this season, I think they're on the right trajectory. The team is still very young, and in a season or two, they could be realistic contenders. But all of this relies on Micheal Porter Jr. developing more and more. And his development as a player is key to the Nuggets' chances of an NBA championship. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, please consider like and subscribing. It's going to really help out.